Hello and welcome to Let's Talk About It. I'm your hostess, Paulette Henson, and today on the Author's Lounge, we have guest author Stella Wilson. Now, Stella is going to talk to us today about her book, Life After Divorce Virginia's Story. So, without further ado, I'm so excited to bring Stella Wilson to the stage. Welcome, Stella. How are you today?
Hey, I'm doing great. It's fabulous Friday. It's a
Yes, it
great day to have a
is.
great day. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, doing great. So, Stella, tell us about your book, Life After Divorce. Tell us your inspiration, your writing journey. Share that with our audience.
I actually knew back in junior high that I wanted to be an author. I grew up reading. I was able to read the Ramona books, so I did a lot of Beverly Cleary, Judy Blume, and I thought, man, I'd like to do this.
Yes,
Yeah, I was about 13, but they loved me, but my mom and my grandmother were like, you'll be a starving artist. You know, that might
right.
not be a good idea. So I kind
Yes,
of, just put that idea to bed. And then a year ago, I was talking to a coworker, and she said, Stella, if you want to write, write. What are you waiting on?
yes,
Tomorrow's not promised and you never know. So she said, yeah, right, do it. So I thought,
yes,
she's right. So I went and pulled out the computer and started writing the story. And then I had to pause it for a little bit to finish the semester because I went back to school. And then I just finished it in the summer and went through the whole process. I remember back when my son was small, I got divorced. My son was 2, and I was taking a class, and the instructor, her name was Betty Hyen Stanley, and she said, I promise you there is life after divorce. I promise. That
yes,
kind of stuck with me. I thought, what? Because, the divorce was still fresh and everything that I'd been through. So
yes,
um, it just seemed like it was a very appropriate topic. I also grew up in a very high control religious group. So they do not like you to get divorced, even if you're in a toxic type of relationship. And
wow,
all of their videos and stuff always shows people leaving and having a horrible life and, just having being the poster child for bad experiences.
yes,
So I thought, you know what? I want to do something uplifting. There's a lot of articles and books and videos out there, kind of talking about the doctrine. But I thought
yes,
I want to focus on somebody leaving and rebuilding her life in
yes,
a positive way.
yes,
And I also, growing up, I didn't see really a whole lot of authors that look like me. So,
yes,
representation is important. So, this
yes,
book also celebrates Black love and Black excellence.
yes. Oh, wow. I love that. I love the concept of inspiring women, people, men as well. I think that there is life after divorce. I think that really it's about finding yourself because sometimes you get lost in relationships, marriages, and you lose who you are because you're part of another person, right? So
Mhm.
I think that you have tapped into a great concept, to provide an uplifting story. I really want us as Black women, we have so much trauma and pain in
Mhm.
our lives. I want us to, okay, now that we put that out there, let's talk about the goodness and how we can rebuild ourselves and how we can inspire others. And so tell us a little bit more about just okay, you came up with your concept. What you wanted to write about? How was it putting it all together and actually seeing that book for the first time. What was that experience like for you?
So yeah, it was very rewarding. I had identified the character. I thought about kind of the direction I wanted the story to go in. One thing I thought about was I read a lot of Jeanette Oak as well, and she has a book. It was her very first in the series called Love Comes Softly, and
Mhm.
so that was also kind of an inspiration for the book. I don't
Mhm.
want to give too much away, but the character,
Right.
leaves the high control group. She reconnects with her family, and she reconnects with someone that she had grown up with, and they
Mhm.
kind of build from there. So
Yeah.
I had a general idea about where I wanted the story to go,
Mhm.
and then from there, I just let it develop organically. I found that in my writing process, you have the premise. This is kind of what I want it to be about. And then let the characters drive it. Let the
Yeah.
characters tell you where the story needs to go.
Right.
So it took probably about maybe altogether, probably about 4 months of writing. And then I got connected with a company, Palmetto Publishing Company,
Mhm.
and sent it into them, the manuscript, paid for copy editing. So then you read through it, you send it in. The editor goes through it, sends it back to you. You read through it, saying yay or nay to the changes,
Right.
and um, then I reread it again to make sure I didn't miss anything. So
Right.
then you send it back to the publisher. They ask you to choose a cover for your book,
Mhm.
and then they send it to you and say, "Hey, this is what the final project is going to look like.
Mhm.
This is what people are going to see. Is everything the way it should be?" So then
Right.
I read through it again with the changes. I only had about 8 that need to be made, which I think is pretty good for a book
Mhm.
that's over 200 pages. And
Wow.
then, yeah, then sent it back. And then in October is when it came out. So just to hold it in my hand was like, oh my goodness, I did this.
Yes.
Wow. And I remember I got writer's block a few times, but actually with Stephen King, I read a quote from him, and he said, "There's no such thing as writer's block. Just write.
Yes.
You can always change it, after that." And then I keep a notebook, kind of a running list of my characters,
Yes.
because it seems like when you write a story, I don't know if you ever seen that movie called Vantage Point. It
Yes.
has the same event, but from different points of view.
Right.
So every story has a story within it. So
Yes.
I've got another one that I'm planning on putting out, and it's a spin-off from
Mhm.
that. So I'm pulling one character from that book,
Mhm.
and then gonna build a whole story around her.
Right.
And the ideas just keep flowing. I have a little cockapoo that I adopted last summer. He'll be a year
Yes.
old May the 2nd.
Mhm.
And I'm going to put out a children's series as well. It's going to be called
Yes.
uh, based on Bo. I grew up watching Clifford the Big Red Dog. So
Yes.
this will be Bo, Bo the Cockapoo,
Uh-huh.
but just have little anecdotes and stories from
Yes.
his point of view, and
Yes.
what he would say if he could talk to us.
Right.
So
Right.
yeah, I'm
That's
so
very
excited.
cute.
I took a screenwriting class last semester, took one this semester. Some of my stories, I want to put them on the big screen, and
Yes.
I've got actors and actresses that I would love to work with.
Wow.
I uh, watched VC Andrews,
Uh-huh.
and the infamous Flowers in the Attic series, and
Yes.
then Lifetime made adaptations of the movie.
Mhm.
And the last two movies, there's an actor named Jason Lewis that played the main male protagonist, and I was just very impressed by his work. Just
Yes.
very good actor. And when you hear him on interviews, he's humble, he's down to earth, and I was like, man, So I thought, you know what, I'm gonna write a story and I'm gonna arrange for it to be on the big screen, and he's gonna
Yes.
be one of the people that I'm gonna choose for that story. So I said, you know what, I'm just gonna relax. And then I was driving, enjoying our beautiful Southern California weather, and
Yes.
the story came to me. I said, yep, that's what it's gonna be. Gonna write the book first, with him in mind, and then write the screenplay.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm very excited, about my work. And I think too, it's kind of like once you write the first story, if you get through that, then it
Yes.
makes it easier to write more stories. It's
It
like with
does.
anything,
It
if
does.
you try out a new recipe,
Right.
the first time you make it, but after you get in there two, three times, you kind of really know what you're doing.
Right.
That's what writing the
Y-
process comes out.
Yes, I would totally agree with you on that. I think that getting through your first project, your first book, it is a challenge and a hurdle, but it's so much well worth it. Uh, and once you get past that, then, like you said, your mind just flows with thoughts and information and ideas on other projects. And so, Miss Stella Marie, you are so inspirational to anyone, any author out there that's, thinking about writing their story. And so, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back to talk more with Stella Marie and her book, Life After Divorce. So we are back with author Stella Marie and her book, Life After Divorce, Virginia's Story. And so, Stella, we are going to talk about your experience in book fairs and events. Tell us about, once your book was published, what did you do from that point? What was your journey of promotion?
Okay, well, after I stopped smiling so hard from ear to
Mhm.
ear, I said, okay, now how can I promote this book? So I created a public Instagram page
Yes.
called Stella Marie Book Nook. And I put on a couple of recordings so people can hear the preview of chapter one. I also try to put on there at least a couple times a week something that's inspirational and positive and
Yes.
uplifting to
Yes.
really draw people to the page. I started in October and now I'm at 100 followers.
Wow.
And so, it's
Awesome.
little by little. I keep telling
Yes.
myself there's no such thing as an overnight success. So I
No.
have that going on. And
Yes.
then I'm at Venture 1977 on TikTok. And so I actually started a TikTok and, a page there.
Mhm.
And again, I have um, some clips of, me reading to a good
Yes.
preview for chapter one.
Mhm.
And I also have a couple of humorous videos on there, and people can kind of look at little Bo and get to know him.
Yes.
And I've also made a couple of videos when it comes to the writing process. And so
Yes.
that's kind of where I've started at.
Yes.
I haven't done any book fairs or anything lately, but I interact with people all the time. I'm a full time pre med student.
Nice.
I also, as a little side hustle, I drive Uber. So I'm able
Nice.
to talk to people and network and tell them about
Yes.
my book and what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And then I got accepted into Charles Drew University for their pre med program starting in the fall. So it's
Yes.
the only
Wow.
HBCU out this way.
Yes.
And three of the books that I have in the works are going to deal with the Tulsa race massacre.
Wow.
And so, and again, it seems like the theme in my books is, this happens, this is unfortunate, but hey, your circumstances are not permanent. And
Right.
so, the messages I want people to take away when they read my work is like, wow, you know what? People go through some things, but if
Yes.
they can do it, I can do it. And
Yes.
so, that's kind of where I'm at. So, it's a very uplifting process.
Yes. Wow. Wow. First of all, congratulations on your education, your med school, being accepted to Drew Medical. That is awesome. Uh, so proud of you. And also, just your your concept of your direction of how you're taking your book and you're also moving outside of that circle to inspire people, and that is so important. We so need more of that. um, so with that, your book is available on Amazon.com.
Hmm.
This author, Stella Marie, you guys, she is phenomenal, and she is doing great things. She's going to be writing children's book. She's got a puppy that is going to be starring in some of her books, her puppy Bo. And I think that, that type of creativity, it's so inspirational to kids, to authors, and just people when they hear our stories, as I interview various authors, some of the language is the same, that you are going to go through things. That's part of life. But when you're going through those things, sometimes you feel so alone, like, nobody understands. And so when we share our stories and we write about different experiences, we never know who it's going to affect in what way. But as one of my other author friends said, you cannot, it's like people need to hear your input. They need to hear your contribution to society. It's very important, and they need to drink from that. It's like drinking from a cup that's full. And so, if we're all contributing, then we just, raise our entire community, and people that read, whoever that reads the material. And so, with that, Stella, is there any closing words that you would like to leave for the audience today? I'm so inspired by you, and I know you're an inspiration to our audience right now. So, give us a little closing statement from uh, from your repertoire, shall I say?
Mhm. Well, first of all, thank you for your kind words, and I'm so honored to be here today. I think the most important advice I ever got was from Dr. David Gerstmann. I lived for a while in Arizona. That's where I started back, the school journey. And
Hmm.
Dr. G had just always said, you know what, folks, if you don't know where to start, start somewhere. I
Yes.
took him for anatomy and physiology, one and two. Also took pathophysiology with him, and he always said that if you don't know where to start, start somewhere. So that's my main advice: is start somewhere.
Yes.
You don't have to have it all figured out at once.
Right.
If
Right.
you come up with the title, come up with the general idea of what you would like the book to be about. Maybe do
Yes.
the brainstorming, the mind mapping thing, writing it down to get
Yes.
the ideas, and then just do it. It
Yes.
sounds so simple, but like one of my teachers growing up, he said, Nike, just do it. So,
Yes.
get it to just do it, start.
That's it. And I also tell people, if you don't have, a laptop handy, but you know how you're out and about, and you're thinking about things, and you're like, oh,
Mhm.
this thought would be so good for my book right now, but I'm driving. Use your phone, record that audio, just speak it out, and then you can convert that to text on your document. And so a lot, like you said, the writer's block is real, but you can conquer it. And so you utilize those times when you're not sitting down writing. Usually that's when your brain is flowing and it's thinking
Mm,
about everything. But then you sit down and you say, okay, I'm going to spend an hour writing my book. And then all of a sudden, you can't think of anything.
mm,
So, try to reverse the psychology there and utilize your phone to add to your book. And so, with that, Stella, thank you so much for your insight, for writing your book, and for all that you do. You are a great contribution to our culture. And I welcome you back on the Author's Lounge. And so, ladies and gentlemen, you can get Life After Divorce, Virginia's Story, by author Stella Marie on Amazon.com, also at Barnes and Noble. And so, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next week on Let's Talk About It.
thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Sure. Okay, let me end that. Thank you so much for watching and listening to the Author's Lounge. Stay tuned for our next show.